Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha in Sanskrit means the association of saintly personalities. So for 3 days we were doing non-stop kirtan. Kirtan is music meditation, just like Roman did there, and we were doing it. And here there's like about, I don't know, I can't do math right now, but there's about 25 people in the room. And over there, there were 100 times more, 2,500 people. And all of them, all singing together in unison, chanting mantras, chanting mantra meditation. And then in the morning we had classes on the yoga philosophy, like really, that are really fulfilling. And by the time we see people from all sorts of backgrounds, we see people from the United States, because not many people from the foreign countries came, but we see people from the Northwest, we see people from New York, from Florida, from California, and we see people even from the Bible Belt. You know, the Bible Belt is a southeastern conservative states, and I've seen several people of them. They actually attended the program, and they were feeling a lot of bliss just by that chant. And after the entire program, it wasn't like going to a bar. Going to a bar, it might feel superficially enlivened at that time, but afterwards you feel so depressed and you can't do much out of it. You feel so demotivated. After the event, I felt really motivated to actually get back up and go do what I wanted to do, things like that. It served as a sense of motivation as well. So all these things like education, wealth, and influence, they can be used for a higher purpose. Just like Allison, so wonderfully, she has that great house. She could be doing so many things with the house, but she decided to, and Vivian too, sorry, I just looked at Allison, but Vivian was right in front of me. But they're using this house as like a spiritual retreat center, as a house of self-realization. Especially on Thursdays when I get to meet all you wonderful people, it gives me so much bliss. So that's the purpose behind why they're doing what they're doing. So they have the right purpose. So to summarize, I talked about the first thing is to understand that when you set proper goals, you have to try to set them in such a way that they're a long-term benefit to us. And secondly, they have to have a right purpose behind why we want to achieve them. So now I'm going to talk about action-oriented goals. How much time do we have left?
3 minutes, 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll try to wrap it up. Action-oriented goals. So sometimes goals, like I said earlier, they're they could be very distant dreams. Like, I want to be the first man on Mars. They can't, we can't like really realize that. We can't really, just by that goal, there's nothing that actually inspires us to do something just by that, because there isn't any action plan. Goals should have an action plan to it. So that's why I'm going to start talking about SMART goals. Has anybody heard SMART goals before? Yes, I think Allison has heard SMART goals. Anybody else? SMART doesn't mean, in this particular case, doesn't mean, intelligence. SMART is actually an acronym. So goals have to be specific. That's what the S stands for. The M in SMART stands for measurable. A stands for attainable, R stands for relevant, and T stands for timely. So, for example, from a spiritual perspective, as a spiritual practitioner, if you have a goal like, I want to be a great yogi, it doesn't fit the SMART criterion. It's not measurable, it's not specific, it's not timely. So that goal in and of itself will not inspire us to actually do some action. So a SMART goal for that would be what it takes to actually become a yogi. So it is said in the yoga philosophy that the yogi is actually somebody that meditates a lot, that chants a lot, that reads a lot. So if we set those goals in order to become a great yogi by saying, for example, my goal is to chant like these are beads. So sometimes we chant kirtan, just like Roman did, but sometimes we can also chant them personally. These are what are known as japa beads. So you chant like one mantra on one bead, and then you go all the way around and until you finish one round. So sometimes people would like to chant one round a day or one bead a day. Whatever it is, that number must be measurable and it must be timely. it must be something which we can actually measure the progress. After 1 week, it's like, how many of those things that I have I actually committed to? And same thing with reading. Like reading something enlightening, like 1 page a day, or 2 pages a day, so that after the 1 week, we actually start seeing a change of consciousness within ourselves, and then we can measure, okay, so I'm doing well, let me improve on that next week. Or I'm not really quite there yet, let me lower my standards for the next week. So in that way, the goals become very action-oriented, and you actually do something which would elevate our consciousness in the long run. So those are SMART goals. And with that, I would like to end the talk. I talked about how goals must be long-term, they must have a higher purpose, and they must be SMART. So thank you everyone for Oh, Pavan's giving kirtan today?
Yeah.
Nice. So I'm going to introduce you to a wonderful kirtaniya. Kirtaniya is a person that chants and that does music meditation. And he's not only a kirtaniya. If you want to actually follow proper goals, you should talk to him more than me. He's an astronomer at Caltech, and he used to be an aerospace engineer. He worked at NASA for some time. He has like the entire package, and he does kirtan. So far, far more than me. And he's a wonderful roommate, a wonderful person, so let's all give it up for Pavan.
Just like Raju mentioned, to have goals and be strategic, but it's also important to get some help from the other side, from the higher consciousness, what we're trying to achieve. So just like we started, we'll end with mantra meditation. I hope you're ready to sing. Hare